Thanks for coming. This feels like a step into the future, even entering this building, I think. So it's a very impressive environment for us to be talking about the fast-changing world that we've started to hear about this evening. My job today is to share with you, as Paul said, the headline findings really from some research that we conducted at Initiative just a few months ago. I understand that some of you might have seen this before, or that there are clips around of this presentation being made at Cannes. But you heard it here first from me because I didn't do the Cannes gig. And for hopefully most of you, you haven't seen this material before. You do get the chance to take away copies afterwards. Our focus in the research was on the mobile internet because, as you've heard from Russell, it offers such exciting new potential that advertisers and marketers haven't had the opportunity to exploit before. And also because the world of mobile internet is changing so rapidly in terms of consumer adoption of smartphones. So our focus was smartphones and the real benefits that might be available to marketeers from the mobile internet. And we wanted to understand and gain consumer insight that would help us inform marketeers of the implications of all that lies in front of us. My perspectives are that of a strategic planner, not a mobile expert, so I'm going to be dodging the technical questions in the panel session later on. There's no doubt about the social and cultural impact of mobile phones and the impact that they've had on societies around the world in recent years. And when you consider some of the figures, and I'm sure you'll hear plenty more tonight, but that there are more mobiles in the world than TVs and PCs combined. That there are many consumers in low-income markets where they're holding a mobile phone. They've never had perhaps access previously to a landline phone, perhaps not even to a PC-based internet, and possibly not even to TV. So they're leapfrogging kind of the whole of the 20th century in many ways and leaping straight into the mobile phone as an access for internet access. So these are some quite astonishing things that we're seeing, including that mobile devices are the fastest selling technology in history, that the growth of the mobile internet is outpacing the internet itself in its original speed of adoption, that mobile will overtake the computer by 2013, not so far away, as the world's most common device for accessing the internet. And that smartphones, looking at the early part of this year, were the fastest growing mobile category, growing at 50% year on year. Those are, I'll rattle through them, but they're astonishing figures when you pause to think about them. Ultimately, though, the question for marketeers is, should mobile be part of my marketing strategy, and how do I make that happen? And that's why we embarked on this research, to try and understand, really from the consumer's point of view, what they're doing and how they're engaging with mobile phones. We undertook the research across 8 markets around the world, with 1,000 interviews in each market. The US, you see there, US, UK, Italy, Sweden, Australia, South Korea, China and India. And our intent was to try to capture the range and the spectrum of experience that might exist across those different markets. Obviously, levels of mobile adoption, levels of even internet penetration vary across markets, but we've tried to capture a broad spectrum across all of those markets of the extent to which mobile internet is there. We focused on active smartphone users, so this was not about all users of mobile, it was about the consumers in the sample were smartphone users, and active smartphone users in the sense that we define them as having to access the internet using their mobile at least once a week. In practice, that turned into a very easy task when we talked to smartphone users, because 75% of them immediately access the internet at least once a week, and you'll see from some of the data that I share that in fact for most users it's much more often than that. And the first finding really is that if we still, to Russell's point, if we still define technology by the technology that came before, it's now time to stop calling it a phone, because it's a mobile device that primarily we're using for data purposes rather than voice calling purposes. Now, I understand from industry data that the milestone was passed globally, that data was bigger than voice over the mobile last year in 2009, but I think our consumer research now endorses and confirms the view that for the consumer, it's data that's the typical usage type ahead of voice. Now that figure of 49% seems astonishing perhaps, but it's even higher in certain markets. So our research in the UK said that that figure was 55% is data transmission, and that is a reflection of the SMS history that we've passed through in the UK. In India it was even 55%, which represents or is a reflection of the use of email and business communications in the Indian marketplace, and gaming high in South Korea and China. But four key themes I'm going to try and draw out in a short time today. One is the mobile internet is not niche, and we'll talk about each of these in a second. Mobile internet is additive to other media, and that presents great opportunities for marketeers. The mobile internet is always on, all day, every day for consumers who use it, and the apps have triggered behavior change and have been a game-changing technology. So the first one, everybody's doing it. The mobile internet is a tool for all age groups and all types of consumer. It's not a niche youth application. It's something, as we can see from this research, the blue people are the 18 to 24, the classic you might associate with smartphone or early adoption of technology. It's clear that across all of the markets, if you classify consumers by age, then it's a wide age spectrum that mobile internet is, or smartphone adoption is happening amongst. And even in developing markets, China and India, we do see that youth bias again, but nevertheless it's still that smartphone is and mobile internet is prevalent amongst all age groups. And all aspects of life, again, if we want to kill the mythology of smartphone and mobile internet being a business warrior kind of behavior, then it's clear that smartphone users don't regard it as a business tool, but as very much a personal tool. So 50% or more than 50% saying it's a personal tool, and even more combining personal and business applications. Now these are familiar perhaps to our own individual senses of how we're using mobile, but I think we're seeing strong evidence from the research that this is the picture globally amongst all kinds and shapes of consumers. Now, strikingly, 2/3 of our smartphone users were accessing the mobile internet every day, and that for an average of 35 minutes. And of those, in the 2/3, are even higher in markets like the US, where 78% of smartphone users were accessing the mobile internet every day, and even 40% in India were accessing the mobile internet on a daily basis, and 47% accessing the mobile internet several times a day, and that figure rose to 62% in the US. So an incredible intensity of use using the smartphones to access the mobile internet. That 35-minute figure rises to 50 minutes a day for smartphone users in the United States. So I think an astonishing amount of connectivity with the mobile internet, and that really just emphasizes the opportunity that exists for marketeers to occupy that space. If there was a new medium that had come along that was going to be something that people were going to spend nearly an hour a day with in the US, I think we'd be biting the hands off those media owners to try and access the consumer in those times and places, and clearly that's the case for the mobile internet now. Second thing is that mobile internet boosts total media usage, even additional to PC internet use. So we found that consumers were reporting that not only is the mobile internet a convenient thing when they're away from their PC-based desktop internet access, and they're in dead time, they may be traveling or whatever, they get the opportunity to access the mobile internet. But even 39% of our respondents were simultaneously using the mobile internet and the desktop PC internet. So the parallel processing of mobile internet and desktop internet was quite striking for us. In addition to that, simultaneous usage of mobile internet with traditional forms of media, 50% of people were saying yes, TV and mobile internet simultaneously, 50% saying simultaneously radio and mobile internet, and 34% simultaneously consuming print and mobile. These present huge opportunities for advertisers to develop integrated campaigns that occupy both of those environments and can allow new opportunities to engage with consumers and get them engaging, acting upon information that they've just seen in conventional media. And I think we see more here along that theme, that mobile consumers are always on. This is maybe a challenging chart to kind of get your head around immediately. The colours represent the different forms of the different applications, tasks that might be performed using the mobile internet. And the text labels along the bottom talk about the different contexts and activities that a consumer might be doing. I think the headline really is that the grey bar at the back represents the times and situations in which the consumer is connecting to the mobile internet. And almost from the very waking moments, we're seeing the consumer connecting to the mobile internet at the very beginning of the day, and it's there throughout the day in a variety of different circumstances and situations until they go to sleep at night. And we're familiar with the mobile phone being the alarm clock and it being the thing that's at your bedside. I think evidence here that that's very much the case. I think there's one striking thing for me coming from growing up, I suppose, as a media practitioner in times where we know about TV as the peak time media opportunity. We're seeing that relaxing at home, that the tallest bar of all, relaxing at home is the time when most consumers are reporting accessing the mobile internet. So we're very familiar with the mobile as a device on the move, but I think this is really quite striking findings that the mobile internet is something to be used at home. So no longer is this something to be put down on the hall table with your keys at the door, although you're warned not to do that. Put your keys by the door. But no longer is it something that you stop using when you walk into the home. It's actually something that you keep with you. And I think this again represents some striking opportunities for marketeers. Really, if you imagine people social networking during X Factor or something, then we're in a situation where what used to take place as a water cooler conversation the next day at the office is now the water cooler brought to the sofa at night simultaneously with the landmark viewing experience. So some fantastic opportunities that exist as a result of some of these findings. Some nuances by market. Americans email every waking hour. I think Americans seem to wake up and start emailing and go to sleep, and just before they go to sleep, it's the last thing they'll do, which is partly why we all have to have ours switched on to receive the emails from the Americans, kind of 19 hours a day. The Chinese seem to be accessing the mobile internet for gaming, and I think that, again, is culturally specific and something that lots of us will be familiar with. In terms of need states fulfilled by mobile, I think that we ask consumers about what needs states, what frames of mind, what mindsets they're in when using the mobile internet. And I think this desire for instantaneous content, for information on the move, but equally for things that are fun and enjoyable and pass the time, throws up some opportunities. I was talking to Robbie before we started the session, and it's easy to imagine that when we pigeonhole consumers into convenient labels and boxes for our purposes of targeting, we might think that a business traveller is a business traveller whose preoccupation solely is about consuming business information. I think there are some interesting opportunities that actually when business travellers are on the move, perhaps one of their biggest motivations is not to be consuming business information, but to be making the most of some downtime and perhaps to be very open to a very different form of communication from a brand. We've discovered that mobile and PC fulfill very different needs for the consumer. So I think, again, we're moving away from the time, and I'm sure the guys have lived through it, where the mobile internet was a not very good internet. The mobile internet was a less good version of the real thing. I think we're seeing now the consumer with a smartphone recognizing that actually the mobile internet allows me to perform certain things in certain situations, allowing me to achieve certain things that are specific to where I am and when I'm there. The PC provides me with different opportunities, maybe downloading high bandwidth content, spending more time shopping or researching. But there are clear differences that the consumer is identifying between what the mobile internet is good for and what the PC-based internet is good for. And there's an app for that, really tells a story about how apps, initially by iPhone but increasingly by Android, etc., are becoming commonplace in every smartphone owner's life. We found figures that across our whole global population in the research, 13 is the average number of applications downloaded by consumers with smartphones, and eight of those applications are still in use on their phone. and those figures are much higher for iPhone users, not surprisingly, and in certain markets like Sweden. And even in India, where the smartphone usage and penetration are lower, there are still applications being downloaded and used by consumers. What are the most used apps? And this sort of speaks a little to the business traveller comment that I made a moment ago. Social communication and games are the top of the list in terms of the things we discovered. I think there's a message in this next one about the importance of friends and family as recommenders of apps, because it's clear that while internet search and advertising can promote apps, friends and family as recommenders create opportunities for brands to exist in the space where they want to be most, which is in an environment where people can recommend the brand. Okay, we go. And just very briefly, and I must be close to the end of the time, the grocery app that Tesco launched, Tesco's our client, and credit to them for the technology and the development that went into developing a grocery app that allows you to do your online shopping via mobile. Launched in September, targeting busy mums, carefully not going iPhone first, but going for the Android platform first, in recognition that busy mums may not be the stereotypical iPhone adopting type, but actually, in fact, the success of this app, hundreds of thousands of downloads in just a few short weeks, is testament to the reality that the smartphone user is no longer the convention or the early adopting type, but a mainstream consumer. Straight in at number one with a combination of TV support and mobile advertising support that allowed people, as you saw on the previous slide, to click directly through to download the app. And of course, Tesco going with great enthusiasm into this space, so now you can load your club card onto your mobile, so that you don't have to carry that annoying piece of plastic around that you maybe can't find all the time, or you don't want as a key fob. You can now install it onto your phone and swipe your club card points onto your phone. And I think just launched last week, you can scan grocery items to upload them into your shopping list wherever you are. So if you're enjoying a nice bottle of wine at a friend's house on a Tuesday evening, you can scan the barcode and get it onto your list for shopping the next day online. So what does the future hold? Just one or two brief points on this. When we asked people to make a forced choice between mobile internet and PC internet, and we said, okay, let's say you could only have one of those, a third of our smartphone base said, okay, I'll go for the mobile internet then, thank you very much. And amongst innovators in our sample, that figure rose to 50%. So people are already comfortable with the possibility that the mobile internet might be the primary device. And that peak time TV example shows that actually for many people the mobile internet is the primary internet access device, even at home. You're not going to go to the spare room or to the other corner of the room where the PC is there waiting cold to be switched on and logged onto. It may well be that the mobile internet via smartphone is the thing you want most to do. So I think that sets the scene for an amazingly confident story about the opportunities that exist just around the corner for advertisers, marketeers to engage with consumers using the mobile phone. So hopefully whistle-stop tour at a fair whip, but hopefully it made sense too, and thank you very much for listening.